So this next conversation is really starting to look at why are we not just focusing on process, but why are we talking about mindset? Why are we talking about approach, psychology behind things? And it's interesting because what I hear a lot is people are saying, well, if I go to a local entrepreneurship center, they're going to ask me, do I have a business model canvas? Do I have a business plan? Am I so? And they're putting a structure behind it. So it seems weird that you guys are really focused on something else and very little on the process. And so part of what we wanted to do today is bring in a conversation and allow to understand what the mentality, why as co-founders we're talking about this and why it's important. And I think I'll get started if you guys are okay with this,
Sure.
in terms of really looking at it. And so I think part of it is, for me, when I've been looking at the industry and when I'm looking at entrepreneurship, I'm going to be honest, it's never been a better time for an entrepreneur to launch a business. There are hundreds of books on launching a business. There are hundreds of books on sales. There are hundreds of programs and free programs and YouTube channels that will support you to do all of this. And so you really have all of the education that you want. You could spend hours, A, trying to find it, which is why going to a program accelerates and brings it all into one place, right? That's the first part. But then the process is out there. The problem is every one of those processes are actually managed by people. Every one of those processes are led by people. And for me, it's how if that person gets into their own head. I think that's the challenge. The challenge that I see and I face with a lot is somebody will show up and go, okay, this is what I need to do, and I'll ask them all the questions, and they have all the stuff already answered. What are your sales and what's the process and how do you support them? And they're like, yeah, we're good. I'm like, good. Oh yeah, we still have sales. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, so you have your flyers, yep. You have your presentation, yep, yeah. I have all great. So, oh, and a lot of it is just that mental. It's the psychology of, okay, now I have to get out of my own way. I have to be able to move forward. And I think through our conversations, but I'll let you guys confirm this, but it's not that people aren't smart or don't know what to do. Well, oftentimes it's the fact that they actually have to do it, and doing it is part of the challenge, getting over that milestone, that challenge. And so part of why we focus and talk so much about the mindset is because from what we see, at least from what I'll speak for me, but from what I've been able to see, is that a lot of people know what they should be doing, getting over that hump to actually do it, right? Everybody knows how to eat healthy, right? Everybody knows what they should be doing to start working out. Is that
Are you
easy?
talking to me, Antoine?
I got the same smile. I
No,
got the same smile.
I'm not. But I'm trying to make a link, right? Where
Right.
it's not about not knowing.
Hmm.
Mhm.
It's now about being able to make that shift and putting it into practice.
So
I think
true.
that's why for us, at least for me, the psychology and the mindset piece is so important in what we're talking about.
So as you can know what it is that you need to do, but there's that little extra piece. There's like I'm lactose intolerant, but I still love cheesecake. So there's still like I still have bad habits that are there, they're sitting that I need to walk away from. And that's the really cool thing about people coming into the business practice. Like we know you know the stuff that you need to do. We're just going to help you get out there and do it. We're going to help you avoid the cheesecake. These are things you shouldn't be doing. You know you shouldn't be doing. Step past it, grab a stick of celery, and let's go. So it's like, yes, everybody, a lot of the entrepreneurship programs, a lot of things like they focus on a business plan, and there's a business plan, there's a business model canvas. There are all these little tools that are useful to have, but they're useful to have for specific times, for specific processes. We will make sure that they have that, but the real thing is when you need it, that's when you'll get there. There's certain things that you need to do at certain points to be able to move. It's like, do you have a story? You've got a problem, you've got the right problem. Are you talking to the right people? Did you even identify who those people are? And then when you're supposed to go out and do something or call somebody or do these three things or these four things, are you actually going to do it or is there something else stopping you? And like even when I was getting started with this business originally, there are a whole bunch of stuff that I didn't want to do, even though I needed to do it. And the two gentlemen on the screen are the ones that go, John, you need to do this. Let's go. That is needed. Everybody needs that at some point.
But John, I really want that cheesecake. Come on. I really feel for what you guys are saying, and for me, very early on in my coaching consulting career, I was told you got to have a book, you have to have a process, you've got to have the 12 steps, and you just go from 1 to 12. And I never learned that way. I never did it that way. I didn't figure out that way, but I said, okay, well, that's what I had to do. And I met some people who had some business, or even ones who didn't know anything. And I'm teaching the process. It was so clear, and they got it, and they answered all the questions. Nothing ever happened, and they'd come back to me. It's not working. I'm like, what's not working? Well, they didn't do anything, and I was like, I don't understand what's missing. And then I realized we're all human beings. We all have life going on. We all have some type of mental health issue. We all have things that are happening in our lives that and the training, the upbringing. Like, I've worked with people who were told their whole lives, this is all you're good for. Go to school, try to get some good marks, and hopefully you'll get a good job in the government that gets a pension and you'll be safe. But if not, you just got to work really hard and support your family. And to them, that's all it was. So to think of having a business that could make hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars, and scale was like, that was a fairy tale. So even though they had the idea, they had the knowledge, they had the tools in place, they just wouldn't do it because they didn't believe either they were good enough, they were worth it, or even capable of something. So they constantly self-sabotage themselves, and I didn't understand that until what was causing this self-sabotage, until I realized, okay, there's a mindset problem, there's a belief system problem, there's an issue with, I don't think I can do this, or imposter syndrome. Oh man, I talk to every entrepreneur. I haven't met anyone that doesn't suffer from imposter system syndrome every once in a while. Someone asked me that question just the other day, and I said, hey, I suffer from it every time. Every time I meet someone new, I'm like, am I really qualified to teach this guy anything? And then when we get started, we realize, yeah, we can really help. But we all have those ideas, and it's easy to choose, no, I can't do this, and stop. But it's just as simple to choose the other way. But we need that support. We need that mindset training. We need those philosophies to help us to get out of our own way, as you mentioned, Antoine. So important. And once I was able to realize that that was a key uh, part of the training and the coaching and the consulting, that's when I started to see a shift of people becoming successful and actually doing what they needed to do. I tell people I am not a licensed psychologist. However, I think I've spent more time doing psychological work with my clients than most licensed psychologists. And I had to learn it myself, and I had to understand it. I had to do it. I had to practice it myself too, because I suffered from the same things. I've had some business failures for the same reasons. I just didn't believe I could do it when I could do it. Right. So, so important. So it's such a big part of the training is the mindset and the mental health portion, because we have to get out of our way. I used to joke with people. I said, yeah, you can write a business plan. I can tell you how to make money. It's business is simple. You buy it for $1, you sell it for $4. You have a business, you're profitable. There's no rocket surgery involved, right? But why doesn't everybody do it? Why isn't everyone owning a business and making a lot of money? And it starts with their belief system and their mindset, or how they've been trained, or just maybe they're good and they've been trained, but a tragedy happens in their life, a life change happens, their family system breaks down, there's something that happens in your life, and that will kill any scalable movement if you don't know how to deal with it and work through it. So I'm just so proud to say that it's a big part of our training, because without it you can't be successful.
Yeah, and I think, Emile, to your point, we're not therapists, so
Hmm.
that's going to be very important. We're not giving therapy to people.
Yeah.
That's so. What we're doing is helping people get out of their head and move forward.
Mhm.
I think, I always say there's the ICF, right, coach that asks a whole bunch of questions that sounds a lot like a psychologist. And
Mhm.
then you have the sports coach, which is where I come from, right? That asks some questions, but really gives you exercises, then asks questions because they know that you may not have all the answers or you may not have tried everything, right? And so it's about how do I give you stuff to practice? And I think for me, that's where we're coming from. And I think there's a piece that I think all three of us realize is that we've seen so many phenomenal entrepreneurs out there that had so many opportunities that just didn't do anything about it. Not because they didn't know how, not because they didn't have the resources, they didn't have the skills so all of the things that people would say, oh, it wasn't the right timing. No, there was the right timing, right? What happened is they couldn't get out of their own head. They didn't know. They couldn't motivate. And I think that's where a lot of that's why we do the one-on-ones. It's why we're doing the community piece. It's why we're doing the cohort piece, right? It's why we talk a lot about accountability. Talk about community and accountability. I think a lot of those things that we're doing creates this an environment that's allowing somebody. So, are you going to get a better theoretical training going somewhere else? I would say probably and I don't want to disrespect what we're doing, right? But you're going to get a better theoretical training somewhere else. If but what happens is we're going to give you the theory and allow you to put it in place. We're going to coach you through it. We're going to support you through it. We're going to help you get over that mountain. So we're going to help you live through those cycles that aren't linear. And I think that's why we're doing it. Now, my question to both of you, I already have my own theory, but I want to get it from you guys first. This seems to be so fundamental, and yet it's not part of most programs. Go to any entrepreneurship center, go to any economic development program, talk to an incubator or accelerator. Some of them do, but it's not part of the program. Not something that's integrated. What are your thoughts? And again, I can start if you want. I'd rather you guys start because I already have a pretty strong opinion, but I don't have opinions, right? So why do you guys think that that
I
might be
think
the
it's
case?
there. I think in a lot of cases it's actually there. It's just not focused on in the same way. And I think that's one of the things where like when you have a chance to work with a coach or when you have a chance to take something where it's like I like the fact that we can work alongside people and you're not just instructing. I think for a lot of the education programs, or if you're going through business, like a typical business school or some of the incubator programs where there's a lot of people who've never done this before, and the focus is we're going to teach you how to do this. We're going to teach you how to do this. We're going to teach you how to do this. This is now the tool that you have to use. This is the process. There are 12 steps or 24 steps, depending on what it is that you're going to be able to do is like, and you just do this that way. The challenge that always happens when you have a cohort or when you have people going through that is everybody's case is different. Everybody who's doing these things is unique. So I think the approach that we're using, because it is, yes, it's a cohort, but there's such a large amount of individual time that we spend with each of those people, and you're getting individual time with very different people, the three of us, the people that we're bringing in to be part of those conversations. I think that's the magic piece that doesn't always exist in those other programs. It's like, this is something that everybody's expected to do. Let's go do it. Are we all there? Are we all finished? Okay, we can do that, but we have time to spend individually with everybody. And I think that's where
Hmm.
things happen.
So, Emile, I see you nodding, so I'm going to jump in just because I already had my opinion, and I'll let you follow up after.
Okay.
But for me, my guess is a lot of people are administrators. So they are phenomenal people that are there to support. I think we are lucky enough to have an ecosystem that really wants entrepreneurs to succeed. I think I can't take that away from our ecosystem. I can't take that. I think there's a belief and there's a desire for small businesses to succeed. That I'm not going to take away from. The problem is that the mentality, the mindset shifts, the psychological piece is not measurable. So if I'm an administrator running through a program and I have 100 people coming through my door, I can say, do they all have a business plan? Check. Yes, I can see it. Do they have a marketing plan? Check. Yes. Do they have a sales strategy? Check. So I'm doing the check boxes. If I start saying, hey, are they mentally ready to launch? Have they overcome their sales fears? Right? That now this becomes that's not it's very very hard to measure. And I think for me, part of what we're doing is we're a lot of these programs are based on metrics, right? What are we doing? And how do I measure that I've had an impact?
Mm.
And the mental part, we can't quantify. Can't to me is very hard to quantify. We can do it, but it's very hard to do it. And so I think this is just my own theory, is why so many people don't spend that time. And I think this is what I appreciate about the business bear. So we said, yeah, you can go get your business plan somewhere else, get right, but come to us the how to actually execute it and do something with it, how to get over. Right, we might even do a sales call. You know, if you're doing sales, you're sitting down with Emile, and he's gonna show you how to do a sales call. He's gonna do it with you, and then he's gonna be there to coach you through. Because, like, you know, when we talk about sales, that's the guy you go to. So, and then you're gonna learn that way. But I think to me, it's because it's not as easy to measure, and it's very hard to do. So that's just my theory too. Emile, anything to add to those two things?
Oh, how much time do I have? I got stories.
Let's give you 2 minutes. Let's give you 2 minutes.
Well, you know what it is? I learned this too because early on when I was working with one of my mentors, and he gave me some exercises, and I'm like, it's not working. It's not working. I don't know why it's wrong. I'm doing the work. It's not working. And he just stopped and said, okay, let's stop talking about the exercise and let's start talking about what's wrong with you. Like he recognized that I was there was something in my way, and I had to work on that first. And I'll give you a good example. I was working with this young woman who was a personal trainer, and she worked for a gym, and her job was to get on the phone and convert people into memberships and to buy training packages. She was a superstar. She built a business for these two guys who had their own gym. They opened multiple locations, and she was a superstar, but she wanted help to get her own business going. She had her clients, and she came to me, and I was working with her. I'm like, okay, you know what you got to do. You know how to do the calls. You got to make these calls. And every day, how did the calls go? I didn't do it. Why not? I don't know. I have a hard time asking people for money. And I'm like, but you did it full time for somebody else. Yeah, but it was for someone else. Now I'm doing it for me. And I said, you don't believe you're worth it. And I said, also, she had this, if someone gave her a job to do, she could do it. But if she had to do it for herself, she just didn't feel like she could do it. So I played a little game with her. I said, okay, every night before you go to bed, you write an email to yourself as the CEO of a company talking to your employee. And you say, listen, I got to get all this stuff done or you're going to get fired. Like these are your jobs, has to be done before 4 o'clock tomorrow. And you write yourself an email. And then in the morning, you wake up and you read that email and go, oh, that's that jerk of a boss telling me what to do, but I got to do it. I said, do that for 2 weeks. And it was just changing her mind shift to say, yeah, I'm doing my job for my boss and set, get a little split personality disorder going on and be two different people, be the boss at night and the employee in the morning. And once she got in the habit and realized I could do these calls, I've done, and she was successful and started booking clients for herself, then she realized it and she got to stop playing the game. And it was a matter of identifying the blockage. It's not that she didn't know how to do it. She'd done it for years, but something was blocking it. And it was just a mindset shift. So we play a little games. We do little things to try to figure out what it is to change that mindset to realize, yeah, I can do this. And then after that, she did great. So,
Yeah.
but how do you quantify that in a school? How do you put that in a checkbox? And for me, for you, Antoine, for you, John, we have the same problem. Maybe we can't make the call, but the reason why we can't make the call could be completely different. So understanding that and working with that, and that's something we do in Business Barracks is, we teach the fundamentals, we show the theory, we give you the process, and when we work with you, and when you're not doing it, we don't go, this guy doesn't know what he's doing, he's not going to succeed. No, why not? Because everybody can do this, right? but why doesn't everybody do it? And there's a reason. We help you with that reason and help you fix that little glitch in the system, and then you can move on. And then I think that's what separates us out from a lot of programs.
Yeah, makes sense. I think that really helps to illustrate why the psychology and the mindset. Again, we're not therapists. I want to. It's very important. We're not. You're not coming into therapy with us. What we're doing is we're using ways and we're understanding what might be mental blocks. We're seeing what might be causing this. We're seeing where those habits might come from, right? And we're helping you through that. And we're also, I think, part of that's why community and accountability come up, because there are going to be other people who are going to start holding you accountable. If it's been a month, you're saying I'm doing sales calls and you haven't completed a sale yet, people are going to start asking you, right? What really are you doing for sales? Right? And this is what your coach is going to be sitting down and just like Emile, right, did with the example you shared. And I think that's going to be the shift, that somebody coming to Business Barracks, somebody participating through one of the cohorts. And I think this is going to be very important for people to understand is that, again, I think John's mentioned it in other times that we've gotten together. We're doing it very niche cohorts. So if you're interested in this, you should be applying, even though it may not be your cohort, because the minute that next one comes up, right, you're on that. And if we're getting enough people, we might even just launch a new cohort if there's enough people who's interested. And so part of it is don't wait until it's the right cohort for you. Go ahead and apply, but we may not bring you in. And because that mentality is so different, but I think everything that you're hearing, and if you guys final thoughts before I wrap this on this,
All good. All good.
all good. So I think part of if you're hearing what it is, that's why it becomes different. That's the investment that you're making, is that we're helping you not just do the right things, but helping you achieve them. And sometimes, how to accelerate what you're doing, but also sometimes how to get out of your own way. And if that's something that you're seeing that might be happening, that's why the program, and this is what we're doing, really helps you, achieve that success and be able to build a business that is profitable, that gives you a decent living wage, right? And that's where we're coming from. So thank you for the conversation as usual, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you.
Thank you.